Virginia's housing market is imploding in 2026, and homeowners are fleeing 10 specific cities in a mass exodus that's creating one of the most dramatic real estate collapses in state history. From Northern Virginia's overpriced suburbs to Hampton Roads' military-dependent communities, from Richmond's struggling neighborhoods to the overbuilt exurbs, the Commonwealth is experiencing a housing catastrophe that's wiping out equity and devastating families across the state. The warning signs have escalated from concerning to catastrophic. Inventory levels have exploded by 380% to 560% since 2022 in these 10 cities. Days on market have surged from 21 days to over 152 days. Price reductions have become universal, with desperate sellers slashing asking prices by $40,000 to $120,000 and still receiving no offers. U-Haul rental rates confirm the exodus. It now costs 3.5 times more to rent a truck out of these Virginia cities than into them. And most alarming, home prices are falling 2 to 3% monthly with no bottom in sight. The numbers reveal a market in complete meltdown. Across these 10 Virginia cities, over 28,000 homes currently sit unsold, compared to just 6,800 2 years ago. Qualified buyers are deliberately avoiding these markets, choosing to relocate to North Carolina, Tennessee, or Florida rather than buy depreciating Virginia properties. New construction continues flooding already saturated markets. Property taxes have skyrocketed as local governments desperately try to offset declining revenues. And the federal government contraction is eliminating the high-paying jobs that supported Virginia's housing boom. This isn't a normal market correction. This is a full-scale housing implosion with homeowners literally fleeing, selling at losses, walking away from underwater properties, or becoming trapped as equity evaporates. We're talking about price declines of 28% to 42% across these 10 cities. Foreclosure waves beginning, neighborhood decline accelerating, economic contagion spreading. Which 10 Virginia cities are homeowners fleeing? What's causing this mass exodus? How bad will the crashes be? And what must you do immediately if you own property in these markets? Today, we're exposing Virginia's housing implosion and the 10 cities being abandoned. Virginia's transformation from stable housing market to catastrophic implosion is driven by multiple perfect storm factors converging in 2026. The federal government contraction. Virginia's economy is uniquely dependent on federal government spending and employment. The massive federal workforce reductions, hiring freezes, and budget cuts implemented in 2025 to 2026 have eliminated over 38,000 jobs across Virginia, concentrated in Northern Virginia, Hampton Roads, and Richmond. These weren't low-wage positions. Federal employees and contractors earned median salaries of $95,000 to $140,000. They were the buyer base supporting Virginia's inflated housing prices. As these jobs disappear through attrition, early retirement incentives, and outright terminations, housing demand has collapsed. The correlation is direct. Federal employment down equals Virginia housing down. The cost of living crisis. Virginia has become one of America's most expensive states relative to quality of life. Property taxes in Northern Virginia average $8,500 to $15,000 annually. Homeowners insurance has increased 65 to 95%. Tolls on major commuter routes cost $15 to $25 daily. Gas prices remain elevated. The total cost of Virginia living has made the state uncompetitive with North Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida, states offering better value without state income tax. The Great Virginia Exodus. Between 2024 and 2025, Virginia experienced net population loss for the first time in decades. Over 47,000 more people left Virginia than moved in. The exodus targets include federal workers taking early retirement and relocating to lower-cost states, military families choosing duty stations elsewhere, young professionals fleeing for better opportunities and affordability, retirees discovering Virginia's high taxes make retirement unaffordable, remote workers no longer needing Virginia proximity, the catastrophic overbuilding. Virginia's construction industry, particularly in Northern Virginia and exurban areas, went absolutely insane during the pandemic boom. Over 94,000 new housing units were delivered statewide between 2022 and 2025. Entire communities were built on speculation that federal employment and population would continue growing indefinitely. Now, subdivisions sit 50 to 70% vacant. New construction inventory represents 16 to 22 months of supply in some markets. Builders are offering obscene incentives, $75,000 price cuts, free upgrades, 5% rate buydowns, year of HOA fees covered, and still can't move inventory. This builder desperation is crushing all property values. The traffic and quality of life. Collapsed Northern Virginia has become synonymous with America's worst traffic. The average commute exceeds 45 minutes each way. I-95, I-66, and the Beltway are parking lots. Toll roads cost thousands annually. Schools are overcrowded. Infrastructure is crumbling. The quality of life that once justified premium Virginia prices has disappeared, yet prices remained elevated, until now. The military realignment Hampton Roads depends heavily on military presence. Defense budget constraints and force realignment have reduced military personnel at key Virginia bases. Sequestration impacts and shifting strategic priorities have made Virginia's military-dependent communities vulnerable. As military presence shrinks, housing demand collapses. The remote work reality. Virginia's pandemic boom was fueled by remote workers who could live anywhere. They chose Virginia for proximity to DC jobs while working remotely. Return-to-office mandates have forced these workers back to offices or to accept that if they're remote permanently, Virginia's high costs make no sense. The exodus has accelerated. The convergence of these catastrophic factors has created conditions where homeowners are literally fleeing Virginia. Let's reveal the 10 cities being abandoned. The 10 cities homeowners are fleeing. Number 10. Fredericksburg, Virginia. Current median, $465,000. Already down, 17%. Predicted total. Decline, 30%. Projected price, $326,000. Fredericksburg starts our countdown as a city homeowners are actively fleeing. This I-95 corridor city was marketed during the pandemic as an affordable alternative to Northern Virginia. The 50-mile commute to D.C. was supposedly viable for hybrid workers. That narrative has collapsed. Return-to-office mandates have made daily Fredericksburg to D.C. commuting impossible. The I-95 corridor is a nightmare. Accidents, construction, chronic congestion. Commuters spend 2.5 to 3.5 hours daily in vehicles. Toll costs for express lanes exceed $4,500 annually. The value proposition has evaporated. Active inventory has exploded 425% since 2022. Days on market exceed 147 days. Properties sit with multiple price reductions averaging $55,000 and still receive no acceptable offers. U-Haul data confirms exodus. Rental rates out of Fredericksburg are 3.2 times higher than into, indicating mass departure. Federal employee departures have been severe. Census Bureau employees, DoD contractors, and other federal workers who drove Fredericksburg's boom are taking buyouts and relocating to lower-cost states. New construction of over 4,200 homes in 2023 to 2025 created massive oversupply for vanishing demand. The 30% crash will devastate recent buyers, pushing median prices to $326,000 and leaving thousands underwater with homes they can't sell in a city they're desperate to leave. Number 9. Manassas/Prince William County, Virginia. Current median, $515,000. Already down, 18%. Predicted total decline, 32%. Projected price, $350,000. Manassas and broader Prince William County claim number 9 as homeowners flee this overbuilt Northern Virginia exurb. The pandemic construction frenzy was catastrophic. Over 8,900 new homes delivered in 2023 to 2025 into communities already struggling with infrastructure and services. The traffic is unbearable. The commute to D.C. or Northern Virginia. Job centers averages 60 to 75 minutes each way in good conditions, often 90-plus minutes with typical delays. Toll costs on I-66 express lanes can exceed $40 per day round trip during peak times. Residents spend $8,000 to $12,000 annually just on tolls. Active inventory has surged 465% since 2022, representing over 18 months of supply. Properties sit for an average of 156 days. Federal contractor job losses have been severe. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and other defense contractors have implemented layoffs and hiring freezes affecting thousands of Prince William County residents. Property taxes average $8,200 to $12,500 annually. Schools are severely overcrowded with some operating at 130% capacity. The quality of life versus cost equation makes no sense, and informed residents are fleeing to North Carolina and Tennessee. U-Haul rates confirm the exodus, 4.1 times more expensive to rent trucks out versus in. The mass departure is flooding the market with desperate sellers accepting losses of $70,000 to $120,000 to escape. The 32% crash will push prices to $350,000, devastating recent buyers who believed Prince William County was a safe suburban investment. Number 8. Stafford County, Virginia current. Median, $485,000. Already down, 19%. Predicted total decline, 33%. Projected price, $325,000. Stafford County takes number 8 with homeowners fleeing this I-95 corridor county in droves. Located between Fredericksburg and Northern Virginia, Stafford was overwhelmed by pandemic speculation and catastrophic overbuilding. Over 5,600 new homes were delivered in 2023 to 2025 into a county with limited local employment. Stafford functions purely as a bedroom community for federal workers commuting to D.C., Pentagon, and Quantico. As federal employment contracts and return-to-office mandates make commutes untenable, housing demand has evaporated. Active inventory represents over 20 months of supply at current absorption rates. Properties sit for an average of 163 days. Investor concentration was extreme. 47% of pandemic purchases were investor-owned. The rental market has collapsed with vacancy rates exceeding 18% and rents down 26% from peak. Investors are liquidating at catastrophic losses. Schools are overcrowded beyond capacity. Traffic on I-95 is legendary for being terrible. Base access to Quantico can take 45-plus minutes during rush hour despite being close. Property taxes have doubled in many areas as assessments caught up to boom prices. The exodus is visible and accelerating. Entire subdivisions show for sale signs on 30 to 40% of homes. Moving trucks are ubiquitous. The community is being abandoned by those who can afford to leave, while others remain trapped underwater. The 33% crash will push median prices to $325,000, creating generational equity destruction for families who believed Stafford offered affordable Northern Virginia access. Number 7. Loudoun County, eastern portions. Virginia current. Median, $685,000. Already down, 19%. Predicted total decline, 34%. Projected price, $452,000. Eastern Loudoun County, areas like Sterling, Ashburn eastern sections, and Dulles Corridor, claims number 7 with a brutal 34% crash as homeowners flee. These areas experienced extreme pandemic speculation and luxury overbuilding. The problem is multifaceted. Federal contractor concentration was extreme in eastern Loudoun. Defense contractors, IT firms, and consulting companies with federal contracts have implemented massive layoffs. Over 6,800 high-paying jobs have been eliminated in Loudoun County since 2024. These were the buyers supporting $685,000 median prices. Active inventory has exploded to over 3,400 homes, representing over 19 months of supply. Properties priced above $800,000 sit for 220-plus days. Luxury homes marketed to federal executives receive almost no interest as that buyer pool has evaporated. Property taxes are crushing. averaging $12,000 to $22,000 annually on median and luxury homes. Schools, despite strong reputations, are overcrowded. The dullest toll road costs thousands annually. Traffic on Route 28, Route 7, and the toll road is nightmarish. The exodus is particularly severe among federal contractors taking buyouts and relocating to Florida/Texas. Tech workers choosing lower-cost tech hubs. Families discovering Northern Virginia's costs are unsustainable. Retirees fleeing for tax-friendly states. U-Haul data shows outbound rental rates 4.3 times higher than inbound. The 34% crash will devastate recent buyers and particularly hurt those who purchased luxury properties expecting safe appreciation. Number 6. Hampton/Newport News, Virginia Current. Median $325,000. Already down 20% predicted. Total decline 35%. Projected price $211,000. Hampton and Newport News claim number 6, with a devastating 35% crash as residents flee these Hampton Roads military cities. The military realignment and defense budget constraints have been catastrophic for these communities. Military personnel reductions at Langley Air Force Base, Fort Eustis, and surrounding installations have eliminated thousands of military and civilian positions. Defense contractor employment has contracted severely. The economic base supporting housing demand has eroded. Active inventory has surged 485% since 2022. Properties sit for an average of 168 days. These cities struggle with high crime rates, declining school quality, aging infrastructure, and limited economic opportunities beyond military and defense. The quality of life issues are severe enough that even active-duty military personnel are choosing other bases when given options. Civilian defense workers are relocating to better markets. Families are fleeing for safer communities with better schools. U-Haul data confirms the exodus. Outbound rates 3.8 times higher than inbound. New construction foolishly continued during the boom, adding 2,900 homes into markets already declining. The 35% crash will push prices to $211,000, levels making these areas among Virginia's cheapest, but for good reasons. Declining economy, safety concerns, poor schools, and no recovery catalyst. Number 5. Prince George County, Virginia Current. Median, $285,000. Already down, 21%. Predicted total decline, 36%. Projected price, $182,000. Prince George County takes number 5 with a catastrophic 36% crash. This Richmond area county south of the city experienced pandemic speculation completely disconnected from economic fundamentals. The county has limited employment beyond Fort Gregg Adams, formerly Fort Lee. Military reductions and defense budget constraints have eliminated jobs. The commute to Richmond is challenging. Schools struggle. Economic opportunities are minimal. Active inventory represents over 22 months of supply. Properties sit for 175-plus days, with many receiving zero offers despite price cuts exceeding $45,000. The population is declining as residents relocate to Richmond proper or leave Virginia entirely. The investor speculation was reckless. 51% of pandemic purchases were investor-owned, attracted by low entry prices. The rental market has collapsed with vacancy rates exceeding 21%, among Virginia's highest. Investors are abandoning properties, walking away from mortgages rather than continuing to lose money. The exodus is creating neighborhood decline visible in deferred maintenance, abandoned properties, and deteriorating community conditions. The 36% crash will push prices to $182,000, making properties nearly worthless relative to replacement costs. Number 4. Spotsylvania County, Virginia Current. Median, $445,000. Already down 22%. Predicted total decline, 38%. Projected price, $276,000. Spotsylvania County crashes into number 4, with homeowners fleeing this exurban county in panic. Located south of Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania was overwhelmed by pandemic construction, targeting federal workers seeking affordability. The 70-mile commute to D.C. is completely untenable with return-to-office mandates. Even commuting to Fredericksburg is challenging. The county offers almost no local employment. Schools are overcrowded to crisis levels, some operating at 145% capacity with trailers and split sessions. Active inventory has exploded to over 2,800 homes, representing over 24 months of supply. Properties sit for 182+ days. New construction of over 6,400 homes in 2023 to 2025 created catastrophic oversupply in a county that can't absorb it. Property taxes have tripled in many areas. Infrastructure is failing. Roads are congested, utilities strained. The rural character that attracted buyers has been destroyed by overdevelopment, yet urban amenities don't exist. U-Haul outbound rates are 4.6 times higher than inbound, among Virginia's most extreme exodus indicators. Families are fleeing to North Carolina and Tennessee for better value and quality of life. The 38% crash will devastate homeowners, pushing median prices to $276,000 and creating widespread negative equity. Recovery could require a decade or more. Number 3. Chesapeake, Virginia current. Median, $385,000. Already down, 23%. Predicted total decline, 39%. Projected price, $235,000. Chesapeake claims number 3 with a shocking 39% crash as residents flee this Hampton Roads city. Despite being Virginia's second most populous city, Chesapeake faces catastrophic housing collapse. The military dependence is extreme. Naval Station Norfolk, Naval Medical Center Portsmouth, and numerous other installations drive the economy. Military personnel reductions and defense budget constraints have been severe. Civilian defense contractor employment has contracted sharply. Active inventory represents over 21 months of supply. Properties sit for 186+ days. Crime rates have increased, schools struggle with declining test scores and teacher retention, and the city lacks compelling amenities or lifestyle attractions. The Great Dismal Swamp location creates flooding concerns and insurance challenges. Premiums have increased 75 to 105%. Some properties in flood zones are becoming uninsurable, making them unsellable. New construction of over 3,800 homes in 2023 to 2025 flooded a market already declining. Investor concentration reached 44% during the boom. The rental market has collapsed with vacancy rates exceeding 19%. The exodus is particularly severe among young families seeking better schools and safer communities, and retirees fleeing for tax-friendly states. The 39% crash will push prices to $235,000, devastating equity for thousands. Number 2. Culpeper County, Virginia current. Median, $425,000. Already down, 24%. Predicted total decline, 40%. Projected price, $255,000. Culpeper County takes number 2 with a catastrophic 40% crash. This rural county west of I-95 experienced insane pandemic speculation based on false assumptions about remote work permanence and exurban demand. The reality has been devastating. The county offers minimal employment. Commuting to Northern Virginia or Fredericksburg requires 60 to 90 minutes each way. Remote workers who purchased during the pandemic are being forced back to offices, making Culpeper locations untenable. Active inventory represents over 26 months of supply. Properties sit for 195+ days, with many receiving 0 offers. New construction of over 2,100 homes created massive oversupply for a county of just 52,000 residents. Schools are struggling. Healthcare access is limited. Infrastructure is rural. Internet connectivity remains problematic in many areas. The rural lifestyle appeal has proven insufficient to offset isolation and limited opportunities. U-Haul data shows outbound rates 5.1 times higher than inbound, the most extreme exodus ratio in Virginia. Families are fleeing en masse, creating a death spiral where departures reduce services and amenities, making the area even less attractive. The 40% crash will push prices to $255,000, wiping out all pandemic gains and leaving recent buyers with catastrophic losses, often exceeding $150,000. Number 1. Sussex County, Virginia. Current median, $245,000. Already down 25%. Predicted total decline, 42%. Projected price, $142,000. Sussex County claims number 1 as Virginia's worst housing implosion, with a devastating 42% crash. This rural county south of Richmond experienced bizarre pandemic speculation that made absolutely no sense economically. The county has virtually no employment base. The population has been declining for decades. Median household income is just $42,000. Schools are struggling. Healthcare is limited. The county is 90+ minutes from Richmond or Hampton Roads. The pandemic speculation was driven by investors betting on exurban flight and northerners seeking cheap land. Both bets failed spectacularly. Active inventory represents over 32 months of supply, nearly 3 years of homes at current sales rates. Properties sit for 210+ days, with most receiving zero interest. The population exodus is accelerating. Young people leave and never return. Families are relocating to areas with better opportunities. The county faces potential long-term decline into rural poverty with deteriorating housing stock and abandoned properties. The 42% crash will push median prices to $142,000, making properties essentially worthless. This is housing market death spiral territory where some neighborhoods may be completely abandoned. If this saved you from disaster, like and subscribe. Hit notifications for Virginia Exodus updates. Comment: are you fleeing Virginia? Which city? Where are you going? Virginia's housing market is imploding. Homeowners are fleeing. The exodus is real. Now you know which 10 cities are being abandoned.